Greetings, everyone! Welcome to episode 6 of the Panzervore Tank Tournament. I am your host, Chromoid, and I thank you for joining me today as we look at 4 more rounds of tank battles. Let's get started with round 1. Alright, first up we have the Bullies by Skullsploder. This is a 5-tank team with 2 Scalpel MBTs, 2 Dagger MTs, and 1 Cleaver SPG. They're going to be facing off against the Lemming Empire by a Lemming. This is another 5-tank team with 5 identical MBT-5 Ocelots. Panzervore! Alright, right out of the gate, one of the Ocelots almost spontaneously exploding, although I'm sure it was one of the enemy tanks hitting that caused it. Already down to a 4 versus 5 match. Boom! There goes another one! It seems that these main battle tanks on the Bullies team are very effective. The Cleaver didn't even get a chance to land a shot, although there goes a Dagger, and the Cleaver may not be far behind it. It just took a big hit, although it's doing alright. Same cannot be said for that Ocelot, it seems. Its barrel has been snapped off, and I bet the rest of that turret's going to go in just a second too. Boom! A big shot from the Cleaver, and that's gotta be it for the Ocelot. Yeah, there it goes. I just saw it despawn. The Cleaver seems to be doing okay, despite the fact that it took a big hit earlier. And these two, are they running away? Circling around, but not re-engaging. They seem to have just run off. They've scarpered. They're afraid of the Bullies. They don't like bullying. Well, that's a shame. If they don't re-engage soon, we're gonna have to disqualify them. Well, I'm afraid this isn't very entertaining. We'll stick with it for a few more minutes and see what happens. Obviously, the main battle tanks on the Bullies team is able to hit the Ocelots, or at least shoot at them. But the Ocelots don't seem inclined to shoot back, even though they clearly did so earlier. Or maybe that was the Bullies. Maybe the Bullies friendly fired on their own. We all know how the AI From the Depths is. They tend to hit their own as often as they hit the enemy. Oh, what a shame. I kind of hope to see more destruction. The Ocelots don't seem to be willing to give it to us. Not that I blame them. I mean, one of their own got vaporized within 3 seconds of the match starting. Yeah. Lemming, I'm afraid that your tanks are going to be disqualified. They don't seem willing to engage in this fight. Like I said, I don't really blame them, but you know, if you wanted to win this, you kind of gotta come back and engage. I just noticed that Cleaver has a set of spin blocks, or I'm sorry, one spin block on the front with a bunch of rams on it, so it can actually grind up anyone that gets in its way. That's very clever. If it was a little faster, that would be a truly terrifying tank. Close range crams, and then it can hug and grind you up. It gives me the shivers. Yes, the Lemming Empire is scampering. They're being true lemmings. When in doubt, when in fear, flee away, don't go near. Oh well. My condolences, Lemming. You're out of this one, it seems. The winner is the Bullies by Skullsploder. Congratulations, Skullsploder. And, sorry, Lemming, your tanks have disqualified themselves by not re-engaging the opponent. So that's one round down. Let's get on with the next one. Up next, we have the 1st Anti-Tank Legion by Delta Force. This is a 5-tank team featuring 5 Titan tank destroyers. They will be going up against the Bravo Echo Squad by Crushed Ember and Claying Rogue, with 2 F2 heavy tanks and 6 B1-B2 acoustic tanks in the back. Panzervore. Alright, the 1st Anti-Tank Legion begins to move towards their opponents. It seems that the Sulfur Squad's a little bit slower in the movement department. They fire first, but the Tank Legion responds. Oh, that is very unfortunate for that forward F2 heavy tank. 5-gun salute, and it is gone. At least I'm assuming it is. Oh, there goes the barrel off one of the first Anti-Tank Legion's tanks, and there goes an entire tank off of the Bravo Echo Squad. Sorry, it's hard to keep track of these names sometimes. Another volley, this time split fire. 1, 2. Ooh, that one detonated right overhead. It looked like it missed. It must have a timed fuse. Very neat. That's a 2 for 2 actually right there. I don't know if that tank's even functioning anymore. Oh my goodness, the first Anti-Tank Legion is truly living up to its name. It is just ripping through these acoustic B1, B2s. They no longer have the heavy tanks to fend off the fire from the front. And they're just getting absolutely pummeled. Oh my goodness. I love the new explosion mechanics. Able to lift the entire tank off the ground. I know it's not very realistic, but man, in just a matter of seconds, the Anti-Tank Legion has decimated their opponents. And that will be it, ladies and gentlemen. That is probably one of the quickest wins I have seen in this entire tournament so far. Who'd have thought that Crams could be that devastating against anything on the ground, really. They move so fast, you'd think that the Crams would miss, but that was some very effective fire, showing exactly why those tanks are called the Anti-Tank Legion. My congratulations to Delta Force, you are the winner. And my condolences to Crushed Ember and Clane Row, your entry has been defeated and will be going home. Thank you both for participating, and let's go on to round 2. Alright, up next in round 3, we have the Metal Eating Cookies by Super Choco Kex. This is a 5-tank team featuring 3 Steel Biters in the front and 2 Trusty Metal Pounders in the rear. They will be going up against the Sulfur Squad by Sithfin. This is I don't know how many tanks there are in this, but there's a lot of them. It's all the same tank, the Sulfur. But since the RP count of the Steel Biters and Trusty Metal Pounders on the other team is so much higher than the Sulfurs, this team gets a lot of them spawned in. Panzer Vor. Wow, that is a long line of Sulfurs. Let's see if the Super Choco Kex are up to the task, or if the Sulfurs will be able to Zerg rush them down. Already a lot of fire going off from those 3 Steel Biters in the front of the Super Choco Kex team. The Sulfurs are now replying, but it looks like the Sulfurs aren't moving, which means that they're completely stationary for those APS cannons on the front lines of the well, I forget what they're called now. I just said their names a minute earlier and I can't remember already. The Metal Eating Cookies, that's what they are. Wow, that's a lot of damage. There's still a lot of Sulfurs left. It seems that the Metal Eating Cookies are not too good at aiming, despite the fact that their enemies are sitting relatively still. It looks like the Choco Kex, I'm calling them Choco Kex. Choco Kex is the creator, Dum Dum. These are the Metal Eating Cookies, and they cannot seem to hit their opponents, and they don't seem to be able to move either. Both of these entries are sitting still. Don't know what the problem is. But so far, it seems to actually be working in the Sulfur's favor. Well, I say that, and there goes another Sulfur. Will this shell land? No, it doesn't. It still hits that other Sulfur that's probably already dead. One shot from the Metal Eating Cookies is all it takes to end one of these Sulfurs because they're so tiny. Just like that. The turret has been severed and the hull has been smashed. And another shell just from the cram cannons in the back just to make sure it's dead. It's gone, guys. You can relax. But as you can see, there's still quite a few Sulfurs left on the table. And I'm not sure there's as many Metal Eating Cookies as there were in the first part. Oh, there aren't. 3 of them have been despawned. Only the cram cannons in the back remain. And this one just lost all of its gauges. So in spite of being completely stationary, it seems that the Sulfur Squad actually managed to pull off a win in this because there's a lot of them left, and they've only got one really functional cram. Oh, well, no, there's no functional crams left on the enemy team. They've cored out the guns of all the remaining tanks on the enemy team. All I have to do now is whittle down the heavy metal armor in the front of these tanks. Oh dear. That's unfortunate. If these entries could have moved, this might have played out a lot different. Maybe not. Maybe not. There's a lot of the Sulfur Squad, and they may have been able to just swarm around the Metal Eating Cookies. In fact, this setup might have been better for the Metal Eating Cookies because all of their targets stay stationary in the front where they can aim at them. Just too many shells coming in at the same time on the Metal Eating Cookies for them to be able to deal with it. It seems their guns blew up very, very quickly. I don't know what the Sulfur Squad fires. It looks kind of like kinetic rounds almost. I don't see any explosions or heat frags. Nope, they're fragment rounds. Interesting. I have a design entered in this tournament that uses the same principle. Let's see how effective it is against these remaining Metal Eating Cookies. If I remember correctly, these trusty metal pounders in the rear can take a lot of damage. Oh dear. It didn't sustain that damage very well, though, did it? Kind of a situation where we're just waiting for them to die now. There's really nothing else for them to do. They've been hammered so hard that their guns have fallen off, and now they have nothing to reply with. They can't move, and neither can the Sulfur Squad. In fact, this might go to a timeout because both entries are just moving away from each other by recoil now. Yep, the time is running out. Let's see if these guys can despawn this last... Well, it's not the last one, this fourth Metal Eating Cookie before the time runs out. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. Just too much power, too much health left on that Metal Eating Cookie. Oh, nope, I spoke too soon. It despawned. Well, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. The winner of that match is the Sulfur Squad by Sithvin. Congratulations, Sithvin. Look forward to seeing you in the next round, or the next episode, I should say. And I'm sorry, Super Choco Keks, your Metal Eating Cookies have eaten their last cookie in this tournament. Thank you for participating, and we'll see you next time. And lastly, in round 4, we have the Paper Tanks by Crozeus. This is a single tank called the Minimus Mark II that is so small it gets spawned in over 24 times. And it is going to be facing off against Team Hamster by Xionyx. This is a 5-tank team made of a single tank called Oh No's a Hamster, another cram entry. Panzer IV. Whoa, that's a huge swarm of paper tanks. Well, let's see what these Davids have against the Goliaths on the Team Hamster. Oh dear. Well, that's one tank down on the paper tank team. There's a lot of shells coming out of them. I don't know what kind of shells those are, but they fire relatively quickly, and they fire in large bursts because there's so many tanks. No idea where that cram shell went, and oh dear. One of the hamsters just got lifted by its own ammo detonation. Seems that the paper tanks do have a bit of a bite to them. Although, there's literally no armor on them. They're just a gun with wheels. I don't even know how we got them to move, as small as they are. But they're doing work on the hamsters. My goodness, they already chewed the gun out of this one. Nope, they haven't. I lied. But for some reason, it seems to have just skipped off of a paper tank. Was it a kinetic round? It looked kinetic. That looks like kinetic rounds. They've taken out the explosive pellets inside the hamsters, it would seem. I guess. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Those shells are just bouncing off. I guess it's bouncing off the ground, because even if it was kinetic, if one of those hits one of these paper tanks, it's just going to detonate. The entire tank is just going to explode in a million pieces. Oh my goodness, the paper tanks have managed to despawn a hamster. This is literally the definition of Zerg rushing, ladies and gentlemen. The hamsters are very, very thickly armored on all sides, but oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Zerg rush, kiki. This is almost unfair, and I would think I'd be saying that about the hamsters crushing the paper tanks, but it's the other way around. The paper tanks, with their tiny machine guns, are absolutely chewing up, apologies, my phone's going off, absolutely chewing up those hamsters. Wow, I did not think they would be this effective. Wow! It seems that friendly fire is still a thing, even when your tanks are made of paper. Or I should say, especially when your tanks are made of paper. A single hit to any of those is going to cause an ammo detonation, because they have to have ammunition on board, and if I'm not mistaken, that's wooden armor. In a tournament where you're allowed to bring 2,000mm cramshells, but who am I to argue? The ones with the cramshells are the ones getting despawned. Well, the ones with the wooden armor are getting despawned too, there's just more of them, and there goes. Is that the last hamster? That's the last hamster, and they're going to go around pirouetting in their madcap way, celebrating. Some have had a little too much whiskey. Guys, no falling asleep on the job. And that is it. My congratulations to Crozeus. You are the winner with your paper tanks. I'm not sure if you expected them to be this effective, but they are. Thanks to the RP balancing mechanic in this tournament, they get literally a Zerg Rush effect on their enemies. I am scared. I have entries in this tournament, and I am almost certain they can't take that kind of punishment. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. Until next time, I've been Chromoid, and this is the Panzer IV Tournament. See ya.